You ever have one of those moments when you're sitting somewhere peaceful, maybe a plane, maybe a quiet coffee shop, and then out of nowhere, chaos just walks right up to your face? That's exactly what happened to me about 6 months ago, on a flight from Dallas to London. I still think about that day a lot. Not because of what I said, but because of what I didn't say, and what my mom showed me without even trying to. It started calm, almost hypnotic. The engines were humming that steady background note that always makes me a little sleepy. First class had this warm amber light, soft music, champagne glasses clinking somewhere behind me. My mom, Evelyn, was sitting by the window, her cardigan neatly folded across her lap. It was her first time flying in years. I'd surprised her with this trip, a long, overdue vacation. I wanted to give her something peaceful, something easy. Turns out, the universe had other plans. We'd barely settled when this sharp, nasal voice sliced through the calm. "Excuse me, you're in our seats." Everyone turned, like in one of those slow-motion moments where the air itself tightens. Standing in the aisle were two women, mid-40s maybe, dressed head to toe in designer athleisure. One wore a hot pink tracksuit that looked like it had been dipped in glitter, the other was all purple and gold chains. You could smell the entitlement before you heard it. The one in pink, her name, I later learned, was Trisha, jabbed her manicured finger toward my mom. "You heard me, ma'am. That's our seat. 2A and 2B. My mom blinked, a little confused, holding out her boarding pass like a peace offering. "I'm sorry, there must be some mistake." Trisha snatched the ticket right out of her hand. "Don't play dumb. We booked these. You probably just slipped in hoping no one would notice." You could feel the air change. People stopped talking. A businessman across the aisle pretended to type, but was clearly listening. My jaw tightened. "Hey," I said, standing up. "Maybe check your tickets again before you accuse my mom of lying." The sister, purple outfit, I think her name was Dana, leaned in with this smirk that could curdle milk. "Oh, you're with her? That figures. Mommy's little accomplice." A few people gasped. My mom's hand reached for my sleeve, light but firm. "Ryan, it's okay," she whispered. But it wasn't okay. I'd seen her deal with rude people before, but this was something else. They were performing, showing off their arrogance for an audience. Right then, the flight attendant appeared, young, calm, the kind of person who could probably talk a cat out of a tree. Her badge said Clara. "Ladies," she said smoothly, "let's take a look at your boarding passes." Trisha launched into her speech like a seasoned Karen. "This woman is in our seats, and now her son's getting aggressive. We paid for 2A and 2B, and we're not moving until this is fixed." Clara compared the passes quietly, tapping her tablet. 10 seconds of silence felt like an hour. Finally, she looked up, professional smile still intact. "Actually, ma'am, your seats are in row 12. Economy section." You could have heard a champagne bubble pop. "What?" Trisha barked. "That's impossible. We always fly first class." "Then you know the system doesn't make mistakes," Clara replied gently. That's when phones started coming out. People pretending to check messages, but holding the cameras up just enough. I saw one woman mouthing, "Oh my God, it's happening." My mom, bless her heart, leaned toward me and whispered, "Maybe I should just move. It's not worth the trouble." I shook my head. "No, Mom. You belong here. Don't let them take that from you." Trisha scoffed. "Wow. Yelling at your mother in public, classy." Dana added, "Guess entitlement runs in the family." Before I could reply, Clara's radio buzzed. She nodded slightly. "Please stay seated," she said. "I'll confirm the manifest." Trisha folded her arms. "Good. And when you see we're right, I expect an apology." Minutes passed. The cabin was tense enough to hum. My mom sat straight, eyes fixed on the window. Not angry, not even embarrassed, just still. It was like she'd retreated somewhere deep inside herself, to a place those women could never touch. And watching her like that, it made me realize how loud small people have to be to feel seen. The curtain parted. Clara returned, tablet in hand. "I've double-checked," she said. "Your seats are 12C and 12D. The ones you're in belong to Mrs. Evelyn Carter and Mr. Ryan Carter." You'd think that would end it, but of course not. Trisha's voice cracked like glass. "This is ridiculous. We're platinum members. Call your supervisor." Clara smiled tightly. "Of course. I'll inform the captain." You could see them exchange a look, half triumph, half panic, as if they'd just pulled the speak to the manager card at 30,000 feet. 5 minutes later, the curtain opened again. And this time, the captain himself walked in. Tall guy, maybe in his 50s, with that calm authority pilots carry like armor. "Good evening," he said. "I understand there's been some confusion about seating?" Trisha jumped in. "Yes. These two are in our seats, and your staff is siding with them." He looked at me, then at my mom, and something in his face shifted. "Mrs. Carter," he said softly. "It's been a long time." My mom smiled, a little surprised. "Captain Reeves, you still flying those 787s, huh?" He actually laughed. "Because of you. Ladies and gentlemen," he said, turning to the cabin. "This woman trained half the pilots in this airline, including me." Gasps rippled through the cabin. Trisha's jaw literally dropped. Dana looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. "She was one of our first instructors," the captain continued, "and one of the best. So if anyone's earned this seat, it's her." The applause started slow, then spread. Someone whistled. I felt a lump rise in my throat as the captain turned back to the sisters. "Now," he said firmly, "please take your assigned seats in economy, or we'll have to remove you from the aircraft." That did it. Trisha muttered something about lawsuits and never flying this airline again, but they grabbed their oversized handbags and marched down the aisle, red-faced and defeated. As they passed, a guy in row 3 said just loud enough for everyone to hear, "Enjoy the legroom in row 12. Laughter followed them all the way back. When it finally quieted down, I looked at my mom. She was sipping water, calm as if nothing had happened. I said, "You knew the captain?" She smiled. "I trained him back when pilots still did their calculations by hand." "You never tell anyone that." She looked out the window, eyes on the fading light. "I don't need to," she said. "The sky remembers." For a while, peace returned. The captain sent her a glass of champagne as a thank you. Clara winked as she set it down. My mom raised it slightly, half salute, half goodbye, and that was that. But about an hour later, just as we were getting comfortable, turbulence hit. Hard. The plane jolted, lights flickered, people gasped. From behind the curtain, we heard that same shrill voice. "Trisha again. Why is this happening? We shouldn't be back here. I swear, karma has the best timing." My mom sat completely still, breathing slow. "They should have changed course earlier," she murmured. "You can tell that?" I asked. "I can feel it," she said softly. Air currents never lie. 10 minutes later, the shaking stopped. The captain's voice came over the intercom, calm but strained. "We've adjusted altitude. Things should smooth out." Clara came by again, whispering. She was right. We cleared the turbulence exactly when your mom said we would. A while later, the curtain moved again. This time, security was being radioed ahead. The sisters had caused another scene, trying to push past attendants to return to first class during turbulence. When we landed, 2 airport officers were waiting. Watching them get escorted off the plane felt poetic. My mom didn't say much. She just looked at the sunrise through the terminal glass and said quietly, "Sometimes the storm isn't outside the plane, Ryan. It's inside people." I didn't respond right away. I just nodded, because she was right. That day, I saw how dignity could be louder than arrogance, how grace could break a storm without ever raising its voice. So yeah, that's how my mom turned a flight full of tension into a lesson I'll never forget. And honestly, I'm still not sure which was more satisfying, the applause when she got justice, or the silence when karma finally landed. Anyway, what would you have done? If you were sitting there, would you have stepped in, or let the storm pass on its own? Tell me in the comments below. I really want to know how you would have handled it.